Hey love. So my niche is in codependent empaths, and most of them sadly don't even know that they're codependent or empathic. So as a recovered codependent and, forever empath, I often am forced to empath with other empaths who are engaged in a narcissistic dynamic in a codependent way. Okay, so a true trained empath would never deal with a narcissistic type person in a billion years, because they will see that some people just are not, it's just not worth it for us energetically to try to engage in that dynamic. So my clients are often women who are savior type codependents who long to be saved from somebody else, while also wanting, that longing is displayed outwardly by trying to save other people, because that's our way of feeling powerful over this sense that no savior is going to come for us. We want other people to feel like they can rely on us to save them, because ultimately that makes us feel like somebody's going to come and save us. So that's fine to the extent that, one day in time, you're going to come to a point and you're going to realize you can't save anybody but yourself. And the biggest waste of your time is to engage in a codependent type relationship with somebody who displays narcissistic tendencies. But I want to talk specifically about the person who is a narcissist in a very polished way. So here's the thing. Years ago, I was at a Dave Matthews concert, and a couple people totally scammed me. They said they needed a ride. I was a single mom of 2 at the time. I was in the absolute savior codependent archetype type thing, and gave these people a bunch of money, dropped them off. 2 weeks later, those exact same people did the exact same thing to my friend, okay? And I was definitely somebody, I'm still a little stunned sometimes, because I always assume everybody cares about other people. How could they not? But the truth is, some people just don't, okay? And that was a weird reality to come to. But the codependent type person who is engaged with a narcissist, and especially as an empath, is often empathing with the vibrations of the person's story, and that story is then a fixed reality, okay? So the only reason that those people continue to scam people, and they will continue to scam people, is because they have a story that people like us buy into, and we go, oh, I have to help them or whatever. But the truest kind of charity is seeing somebody else for who they actually are, and trusting that they have their own resources to take care of themselves and to make themselves happy. This is what I see as time robbery with my clients. They want to be the person to show somebody who has a sob story, repeated sob story, about their own abandonment, why they can't take care of themselves, why they can't show up, why they can't commit, yada, yada, yada. And they want to be the person who shows them somebody's going to show up for you, and ultimately you want them to do a table turn at some point and to show up for you in return, right? Let's be clear. That's your intention, is I want to show this person so that they can also show up for me, because I see their potential underneath. I see their soul underneath. When you are empathing with somebody's soul and not seeing the reality of their egoic patterns, it is a disastrous waste of your life, energy, and resources. So the particular kind of person that I'm talking about that displays this narcissistic tendency will often show up as a form of, I'm going to save you somehow. You feel free and enlightened in their presence, and they're often very charismatic and sexy, and there's something alluring about them. And then eventually the table flips somehow, and you're feeling crazy, and you don't understand how you've given all that you had and it's still not good enough. And every time you do something, the signposts change for what they have to have in order to feel comfortable, or whatever it is. You deplete your resources to make sure that they are receiving theirs. And anybody who lets you do that, if you are a person who is depleting your own resources for the sake of somebody else, somebody who lets you do that does not care about you. I am sorry to tell you that, but it's true. So our past is not an excuse for any story to continue, okay? So what I really want to hone in about these people and the codependent type savior person who really wants to save them because their story is really fucked up. listen, you probably have a really fucked up story. I have a really fucked up story. Lots of people have really fucked up stories. And look at what we do with them. Like, we want to save other people and save ourselves with them, okay? And this kind of person who uses the story repeatedly to get you to do what they want you to do, and all of a sudden you're walking on eggshells and you can't even say anything because you are, you're triggering them. So, I want to say, guys, confusion and confusion is a hypnotic tool, okay? If you're being manipulated and confused, you're also being hypnotized. And they might not know that they're doing that consciously, but they know that they're doing that, okay? So you staying in this dynamic is actually feeding the dynamic, and your desire to save them, basically from themselves, is your desire to save you from yourself. And the sooner you realize that and stop going, oh my God, what can I do to help this person see me or recognize that I'm still here for them and blah, blah, blah. Honey, be there for you. Be there for you. Because the story that they have is just a story, and it gives nobody a right to use somebody else. Because I want you to understand that somebody who thinks like that, it's so sad to me that people don't actually care about people. But the reality is that somebody that thinks like that has such a fixed egoic pattern that their best resource has been to use other people. And when you stop giving them all of your resources, honey, I'm sorry to tell you this, but they're gonna go find it somewhere else. Like, you are not the be-all end-all with this kind of person. I know that you want to be, but you're not. Like, it just is what it is. And you can play the game for a really long time, but it's their game. And this is your life. And if that's the game you want to play, all power to you. Like, I'll support you in that. But if you are interested in truly being a sovereign being with a truth and an essence and a strength that you desire and you see in other people that you admire, honey, one of the biggest wastes of your time is to fall for the bullshit of somebody who once was something and then flip the switch, and all of a sudden now you're wondering, what more could I do? I've given everything. It's just never enough. I don't understand. That doesn't work. That dynamic is going to rape you of your entire life. And I'm sorry to use that word, but it's true. If you don't see it from an objective reality and say, okay, I love this person for sure. Cosmically, this is great. I love this person. But true charity is me trusting that the only way that this person is going to be able, the only way I'm going to be able to succeed in this dynamic is to end this dynamic. When you reach a charity that says that for yourself, and it says it for the other person, which is you are teaching them self-respect, you are ultimately saving yourself and teaching them, like, look, it can be done because I'm doing it. Because nobody who respected you would do that to you, and nobody who had self-respect would allow somebody else to do that to them. So sometimes the only way to save yourself in this dynamic is to end it. And I know that that feels like abandonment to them, and it feels like abandonment to the image that you were going to be the one to show them and save them and blah, blah, blah. But honey, that was not your responsibility, okay? Your responsibility is your healing and your healing alone. And that kind of person might have a good story, and it might work very well for them. And if it is depleting you and robbing you because you want to change their story for them, please know that you can't. They are the author of their own ending. And you right now are likely a pawn in their attempt to get to nowhere. They don't even know where they're going. They're just using things, like using people like coffee cups. They don't even know. They're just using things to get to the next place and mindlessly drinking to get wherever they gotta go because they're afraid they won't have the energy if they're not using you. And the truth is, they won't find the energy until you make them stop using you. Okay? You deserve so much more than to be confused about who you are because somebody else is confused about who they are. Your life, your clarity, everything about your magnetism depends on you being willing to say, I'm not going to save this person. a fucking second longer because it's literally drowning me to do so. You're allowed to say that, okay? You're allowed to say that. Doesn't matter how charismatic, sexy, whatever they are. Doesn't matter how they used to make you feel. What's true is that on a soul level, sure, you're in love and it's great. Let that always be true. But when you look at it from the soul down and you see the egoic patterns that are going on and you recognize that you came to embody something amazing and do amazing things and have amazing vibrational experiences, you won't engage in this dynamic. Okay? So, listen, if you don't know how to get out of your codependent ways, I'll help you. If you don't understand how to use your empathic abilities, call me and I'll help you. But listen, you know how to use all of your inner resources because you use them for other people. I want you to use them for yourself. Just start using them for yourself and see where that gets you. And I promise you, everything will become so much more clear. And that is what you seek. All right. You have permission to not save someone. Okay? I know it's weird. It's very weird. But you do. All right. I love you. You're worth loving. You're worth respecting. You're worth being shown up for. Don't settle into anything that doesn't do all of those things for you.